Hello and welcome to a live session with our virtual coffee. And joining us today is Angels from Angels Resources. Now they do recycling. One aspect of their business, because they've got a lot of things going on, is recycling. And today I've got Eddy Kampher joining. It's Kampher, right? Of Angels Recycling. And hello to Eddy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Romany. And I see you also fine. Looking sparkling.
Yes, I am. Lots going on. So if you are out there today joining us, let us know, say hi, say hello. If you've got any questions, let us know and ask those questions. Please share and like this information to other people within your network. And the reason I ask this is because we are going to be talking about recycling and the importance of recycling and the benefit of recycling and how it can help you, me, Eddy, and everyone, the animals and the environment as a whole. So I'm really delighted to have Eddy here because he's going to share with us some really useful information. So Eddy, what made Angels get into the recycling business?
Yes, Romany, thank you for the opportunity to share with you this afternoon. Angels into the recycling business is probably not the correct term to use. It's Angels being a resource center, and we do mentorship, we do training of people with business ideas, especially in the rural areas where they might be upcoming, or they just have an idea and they're not sure or confident enough to venture out and start. So we work across all the industries, depending on who the person is that is sitting in front of us when we mentor or when we train. So in this whole aspect, within this whole aspect and the scope that we work in, especially in the, as I say, in the under-resourced areas like your Northern Cape, deep rural areas where there's sometimes just a few hundred people living or a few thousand people living, but they are still people and they still have dreams. And out of our interaction in the Northern Cape from Angels' point of view, when we do the introductions, your first days of introductions, in asking your the attendants, what are your business dreams that you have, and they do their lean canvases and their visions and so on, then the recycling comes up. And recycling is one of the businesses where, well, once you want to get going, you don't have to look too far. You can just walk outside your door and there's something laying in the street that you can pick up and start a recycling business with. And so from their perspective, Angels realize that being in the Northern Cape, the distances are far. If I want to, for example, if I can give you an example, if I want to travel from the R, which is where I am in the Northern Cape, our head office is here. If I want to travel from the R, for example, to a place like Van Rensdorp, then the distances between the towns is on average, and it takes me an hour to get from one town to another. So it's a few hours of drive. And obviously when I get to Van Rensdorp, then I'm in the Western Cape. But within the Northern Cape alone, from the R to, for example, Carnarvon, from Carnarvon to Williston and so on, the distances are far. So you can imagine, and within the Northern Cape, there's no official big company that really does recycling. So most of the big centers, like in your cities, those are the big players, if I can put it like that, in the market of recycling. So you end up with somebody might be interested in recycling in the Northern Cape, but they live in a little town where they now sit, and then they need to transport. If they collect, for example, they need to transport, for example, to a city, to Johannesburg or to Cape Town, or even the closest could be maybe Kimberley or Uppington, the biggest cities. But the distances are so far because it will eat into your profit, if you like. And so your fuel will not make it worth the while. So because we are Angels, we are always ever increasingly wondering and planning and deciding what more can we do to assist our communities or our entrepreneurs in the community. And so one small solution that we came up with is we can, for example, have a truck collectively that we use to travel throughout the Northern Cape, and then make it easier because a big company will send a truck if you have at least, for example, 40 tons of a certain commodity. For example, 40 ton of cardboard, and then they will send what they call a link. So it's just a truck with a trailer with. And so for that truck to come, it'll be good if I have 40 tons of something. But if I don't have 40 tons, then I will be sitting with the idea that I have now collected, and I will become despondent and discouraged. What kind of business is this? So what we, on our minds, we're thinking that now we can link all these entrepreneurs, number one, and say, where do you have recyclables and how much have you got? Then we needed to go further to negotiate also with the bigger recycling companies to say, will you allow us on your premises if we come with a truck with a mixed load because Sunny and Kosi and Johanna and Kolani, they may have different commodities, and all of them added up and obviously become a 40-ton load or less. So we have a little truck that can carry a few tons, and then we mix the load. So we go and pick up from everywhere, and then we take that kind of load we take to the market for our entrepreneurs. And that's basically why we are in the space at the moment. And we see it's working. Our entrepreneurs are becoming more encouraged, and they have zeal and enthusiasm again. So that's one of the main reasons why we entered.
It's always nice to see what Angels are up to, because you guys are always up to something, helping the community, helping the smaller guy. I just keep seeing it every time.
Yes. And then maybe also what we do further than that is we're trying to assist also here and there, where because we're actually an NPO, we assist in other ways that we can in the community as well. We know, for example, there's a research has been done with regards to the acronym TASTE, TASTE. If you take those letters, which is the reason why people would love to give or assist their neighbor or somebody in the community that maybe go through a tough time. And one of the main reasons why people give is because they feel they have a social responsibility, firstly. But if you take the letters TASTE, the on top, actually, you find altruism is one of the main reasons. Percentage-wise, it carries the biggest weight. Altruism, and then secondly, trust, because if they want to give, they want to give it to example for an organization that they trust. Anybody that wants to give it all, and then there's another letter, just their social responsibility, and there's the letter E. Letter E is actually stands for the little ego that I may have, because I want to be able to say, listen, man, me, Eddy Kampher, I give also to the community. And the other T is obviously for tax purposes sometimes. But the one reason why people feel they cannot give is because they complain about a lack of funds or finances. So if you put recycling in that space, for example, and you say, listen, Auntie or Umi, you can help the neighbor that has gone through a tough time. If you do not, instead of taking all your garbage and putting it directly into the bin, if you can separate some of the recyclables, then if you give it into our hands, then we can maybe together, you and a million other people that just contribute even just 1 kilogram of some recyclables, then as an organization, we can make it work for you to be part of also giving to somebody that may be in need in the community. That's
So
another.
Something you mentioned there, 1 kg of recycling, and that was one of the first things I spotted when I went to visit your website, when I went to visit the Angels website, is collect 1 kilogram of recyclable waste each month to divert from the landfill. So tell us a little bit what that means when you're talking about 1 kg of recycling.
Yes, look, it came from the idea that if we want to determine how much are we actually trying to divert from the landfill. In other words, something that shouldn't end up on the landfill, mustn't land up on the landfill.
What
So
are
we
these?
say, and those are your plastics that can be reused, like your PET, your empty Coke 2-liter bottles, things like paper and cardboard, and even little old and unusable tools that you may have. It has steel in it. You can instead of letting it lay in your garage or your yard full, it can hurt the children that are playing, or even the dogs or the cats. Something that is not supposed to be in your yard. And if you want to be clean about how you go about your life, this is a place to start, and it can start small. It doesn't have to be everything now. You don't have to clear out your garage at once. You can do that as well. And if you start from tomorrow onwards, start with this little spray can, that instead of when it's finished, put it in the dirt, but just keep it one side. And that will, if you do that constantly, the small mundane things that you have to do consistently, and then we hope that will create a little habit. The first thing that you do, once something is empty in your house, you can start recycling it. And 1 kilogram of recyclables can be a little. I've tested the other day, and I took a picture of it. It's an old hammer that I'm not using. It's broken. I can't use it anymore. The handle is broken. It's off. There's an old little lock here, two locks actually, and an old key that doesn't fit anywhere anymore. And a little, there's a little pliers and some sort of thing that belonged to, I think was part of a chain or something. Those small little things, they all add up. I put that on a little scale that I normally just get onto standing in the bathroom on the scale, and I said, well, I've got 1 kilogram. So that would be my contribution to our target for the Northern Cape. Our monthly target is 1 million kilograms diverted from the landfill, and that would be representative of my contribution to that 1 million kilograms. And why 1 million, and whether is it possible or not? There's another example, yes, of this. All my spray cans that I personally use. So that doesn't seem like advertising, right, Romany? Because I turned the name around. Well,
No,
so what you do there is a little exercise. Maybe you don't have to. I mean, if you have a recyclable, if we have somebody in the town that you can just take your spray can, empty spray can. You can just take it to the person. If I mean, you can make contact with us via the website, and they will know what to do. But what we do, for example, is because we have to take it apart, because a portion of it qualifies, for example, for aluminium, and a portion of it is plastic, as you can see there on the picture. So, and then a few little cans of those make up your 1 kilogram.
well, that's so interesting. So do we have to take them apart, or do you do that?
You don't have to take them apart.
Okay.
That was just a demonstration for one of the guys that would like to become more involved. I just showed them how to do that there, which is something that I've obviously also learned through having gone through training provided by Angels myself.
Wow, that's interesting. It's very interesting. And when you do the plastic bottles, do you have to take the lids off? Because like in the UK, you have to take the lids off and you have to wash the bottles out. You can't just recycle, throw them in the bin like that. You're supposed to rinse them out. Is the same apply here?
The same apply here, but as I say, we don't want to inconvenience our community too much. If you have the bottle, whether it has a lid on or not, just make sure that it ends up with one of our entrepreneurs or one of our depots or people that collect. Then they'll be happy to do the rest of the cleaning and so on. Because before we load it up onto the truck and take it down to our centers where we go and load it off again, we make sure that what we call it is a quality load. If it's not quality, obviously we'll know when we offload, they'll definitely reject it. So we take that responsibility to clean up and to make sure it's a quality load.
And can I ask, when it comes to milk cartons, you know, the box cartons, is that also, can that also go into recycling? I'm trying to think, plastic packets, you see those things like plastic packets, tin foil, all that kind of stuff. Can it go into recycling?
It can go into recycling. It doesn't necessarily go onto a truck that we take down to Cape Town. Not all of it. Tetra Pak is it's what is called the little milk box. It's called Tetra Pak. So a lot of those also can also be baled. We have a baling machine in our warehouse as well. We can bale that, and obviously it'll take a lot to make a certain size bale. That can be done definitely. Some plastics are. It cannot really be recycled. I've heard one lady told me that if the plastic speaks to you, then it can't be recycled. You know, in other words, when you fiddle with it, it makes a noise. She
Really?
calls it speaking to you. And others like your chips packets.
Oh,
Those cannot really be. So it must be soft like those bubble wrap type of and that is used in wrapping. Those sort of soft plastic that they don't speak to you. They can be recycled. So if the plastic cans material doesn't, it's all is not lost. What we sometimes during when we have little projects going, you can also your Coke bottle, your empty Coke bottles, you can actually even those plastics. What we can build also eco bricks that we call them angel bricks. It's all over the internet actually. That can, if you stuff it properly, but it must be hard. That's why it's called a brick. It must be as hard as a brick when you stuff it. You use a little stick to get down to all the little corners at the bottom, and you fill it up, and then you can put on the cap. On the cap, but it must be tight and it must be firm like a brick. So people end up using that as well. We're gonna enter into a project now soon as well from the Agri for Change point of view with my colleague Chris that is the mentor in that sector as well. We'll be using those angel bricks as well to build little structures also, either furniture wise or just structure to use in agri and maybe because we have a little hydroponic project that we enter into as well. But those are all the options. That's right. Yeah, that's correct. Lovely, lovely. So that's your what your angel bricks look like. Yeah. I mean,
there
people
we
have been building lovely structures with it. Yes, it's quite solid, but it must be firm when it is stuffed. Yeah.
okay, okay, excellent. So that's really interesting to know. Now, just one more question. Coke tins of Coke can also,
Yes.
soda tins can also. Okay, okay.
Yes, it can also.
Um, I see Anna Marie saying, "Wow, Eddie, a dream that started in July, July 17. Is that 2017? With
That's
waste
correct.
training by Angels Resource Center that turned into reality with Lazelle Coombs." And Georgina is saying, "Congrats, Eddie." So thank you for those comments, and Eve is saying hi as well. Now,
Thank you.
one of the last things I want to ask you quickly before we close is, what are the benefits to the environment with regards to recycling?
Yes, Romani, I can give the sophisticated, high-value answer. I would
You have
love to, if you will allow me. If you will allow me, I will just. Do I have to explain to you what is better? Do you have a clean environment, or you want to have an unclean environment? It is the bottom line is as simple as that. Because for the environment generally, if we clean up, then the environment can breathe more easily, and my house will look better even, and my place of work will look better. And for the cost to clean up generally from the municipality's point of view as well is higher than if they just have to concentrate on what is necessary to go to the landfill, and our landfills will be managed better. So I'm not going to give a high value sophisticated answer, but it's about, if we want a clean environment, then we have to recycle. Some of the things that we teach our children when we're smaller, you must clean your pick up. If you've left something, pick it up. This is something else. The reason is as simple as that.
Yeah, I tend to take it with me. If I'm somewhere and I can't find the any bin, then I tend to take it home with me. And someone, a friend of mine, many years, I loved the way she described it. It was Barbara. She said to me, I see when you walk out your door, the world, the planet is your garden. So respect it as if it's your garden and your area to play in. And I just like that. The world
Yes.
is your garden, so treat it as such. Treat it with respect and treat it with care. Because a lot of this stuff ends up from landfill into, the wrong animals that, they can choke on it. I saw, I was reading an article that you sent me where they were saying in the Philippines, they produce almost 3 million metric tons of plastic waste annually. And a significant percentage of that plastic waste ends up in the ocean because it's dumped illegally, or it is poorly contained in landfills, which is very sad because it does harm the oceans, it does harm the birds, it harms so many elements of the environment. And I don't think people realize, there's this concept that we are the ruling, man rules the planet. But the more I
Yes.
think about it, when you start looking at animals and you start observing, I have to wonder if they're not more intelligent than we are, because they don't destroy the planet that we live on. And I mean, if you start looking at insects and how their worlds are structured, I kind of have to wonder who's the more intelligent species. And then, if they go extinct, I mean, they were saying like those planksters in the ocean.
Yes.
I mean, if
Yes.
they go extinct, it can terribly harm our environment. Those little creatures in the ocean are vital to our existence. So, it's kind of important that we take care of the environment and the world we live in.
Yes, most definitely, yeah. And as I say, I mean, that's if the bigger picture. And I'm trying to help my neighbor, just and my friend and or my aunt and my uncle, just people close to my colleagues, to help them understand. Let's just start here.
Yeah,
The rest will work out for itself.
exactly. Good.
Let's do the small little mundane things. If everyone does his or her bit, then those mundane actions will culminate and will compound,
The ripple
and they'll
effect.
have a compound effect. Yes, a ripple effect, definitely. And I'm just my dream is just for everybody just to start where you are.
I
The rest
imagine
will
having
come.
clean streets and clean places and parks. I mean, that's
That's
just
right.
something delightful. I mean, Japan's one of those countries in the world where, they literally say you can eat off, the train that you're going in,
Yes,
because they're so clean in their environment. And I mean, it
yes,
does it uplifts you, it makes you feel better to have clean parks, clean roads, clean houses, clean,
yes,
it's just very nice. I mean, it's as Eve's saying, a big problem with masks is that it's killing the fish and the birds. And I mean, you're already seeing pictures of masks, and rather take that mask and put it
yes,
into recycling. Let the
yes.
recycling guys deal with it and let them allocate that in the proper place. Don't just dump them in the malls, dump them on the ground. Take it with you, put it in a bin, put it in your bin if it needs be.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah, and that's a different type of recycling as well. Yes, I mean it's called hazardous waste, and it's a completely different, also more sophisticated process that needs to be followed. So, and if the very same person that actually dumped it there wherever they wanted it, they should have just looked after it better, put it into a safe in a in a container that is not gonna damage somebody else or cause harm to
Yeah.
somebody else. Then it starts with each one person. So that's why our logo, our slogan is each one divert one. We're not asking much. I'm just asking, just divert each one person, please just divert 1 kilogram of
I
recyclables from the landfill.
I love that. And that's how we're going to close today. We're going to close on that note today, because each one divert one. just whatever, one piece of recycling, guys, put it in and contribute to making our world a better place. So thank you so much for that update, and we'll have Eddy back in a few weeks where he's going to update us and tell us what's going on and how they're progressing with their recycling project known as NoCRA. So if you want to know more about NoCRA and what they're doing and how you want to get involved, because you can get involved from a person that lives in your house where you can just contribute to recycling. I think you guys come and pick it up if I'm not mistaken. Collect, start collecting kgs. It could be fun, use your weight scale and see how much a kg of recycling is. And if you want to be an entrepreneur to start your own landfill, I think you have that as well. And then, the guys on the streets, they can also start collecting recycling so that they can earn their bread for the day. So Eddy, thank you so much for joining us. And everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, and have a super week further, whatever it is you're doing. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Romany. Goodbye.